Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Rwagnation League Season 2, Round 1 here in Australia. Today it's just me, Ben Raggy McConnell, and you had that little gem of an intro there. I don't know if you caught the little Easter egg. There was a little token towards Max Thorne. Here you can see it's actually further on. You'll see there was a little bit of a notice at the very beginning as well. I do, however, have a very quick family emergency I need to go and sort out, so what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to let the race start up, and I will be right back about 3 or 4 minutes. Bear with me. Apologies for this. This never happened before in my life. Apologies. Okay, so apologies for me having to disappear. So my wife has broken 2 toes on her right foot. She's obviously in a lot of pain, and it's very likely that I may have to disappear. I have got my phone on standby, so if I do have to disappear, unfortunately I will have to disappear, so they don't have a co-commentator to hand over to. It's just going to be me. I'm going to do my best to make do with what I can do with the situation, and then we'll go from there. So just as a little roundup to let you know what's happened so far, Nick Turney is currently a pole position, provisional pole position sitter with a 1:19.379, Rainer in P2, Copy P3, Lazaro P4. Rexon's out there. Obviously I have no idea how that happened. Chloe has set a time of 1:22.6. The thing is though, the Ultrasoft tyres are not going to be the tyres you want to start the race on, because they won't be able to actually hold the pace down as much as is required. But he's definitely going to be trying. I've been looking at it, there's a lot of drivers that are actually currently running on the Ultrasoft tyre. 2 of which are on the mediums, soft, sorry. So, Nick Turn in the pits, Rainer out on track and an outlap, same as Copy. And if I was going to go through a prediction, the thing is, looking at these drivers, it's just impossible to make a prediction as to who's going to be in the top 3. It's just such a tight, narrow sort of skill gap at the minute. You literally had Chloe who went from dead lashes then all the way up into P4, 120.284. And I don't think he's going to be stopping there anytime soon. Look, well, he's just backed out of that one now, but Beaker still in the pits. That's not a surprise, to be honest. I do expect a lot of these drivers to be going for a super soft strategy to start the race on, and then hopefully go for a one-stop. Ultrasoft does make it really hard to do a one-stop. It is still doable, but you will be really living the tyres to the end of their life. Gooby out in the minute on track. I'm not sure if that was meant to be a flyer or not, because he was pretty slow through there. There's a few mistakes. I think this is actually a hot lap for him. Let's see, he's coming into the sector last. Very large locker there on the front left hand side. He's looking very out of shape, like he's just throwing the car around these corners. And this is actually still an improvement. Wow, well done by him. It looks really messy, but he still managed to chain it together and still managed to get P11. Hazard currently sat down in the pits, 120.662. Not quite how he wanted to be. Copy out on track. Here we go. He's on a flyer. Now, Copy's actually someone I do predict to be in the podium at the end of this session. That was close. And Nick Turner, his teammate. These are probably the 2 greatest drivers that I've ever come across in the history of F1 2018. And you know, looking at down the list, long list of drivers here, there's a lot of drivers here that are actually on par with that level of pace. Copy did cross the line, did a 1:19.747. Pretty sure that was an invalidated lap. Didn't move anywhere. Quite a fair few drivers actually on track, which is also quite surprising. Toto, he's been putting a lot of practice into this track, trying to get himself up to par. He wasn't quite happy with his performance when I spoke to him earlier today, but as it stands at the minute, he seems to be pretty comfortable. This is the fastest lap time I've seen him do so far since we did the practice session, but a 121.205 is where he sits. 2 laps in on these ultra softs, had a little bit of traffic that was right out of the way, not a problem for him, and looking pretty cozy. Lots of people still in the pits. Hazard's on his way out. He's someone I want to pay attention to, but Rayner, he actually managed to do a faster lap time, 119.271. I'm wondering if we're going to see anyone break the 118s here. It's obviously going to be a high 118, but a 118 would be, like, you know, real demonstration of how fast these drivers actually can be. We're talking time trial times there if you can do the 118s. The 119s themselves are still just unfathomable to even think about how quick that actually is. Okay, at Nick turn, he's tearing it round. Here he comes into the pits. Clearly not happy with his lap time. I think he would have actually. Oh yeah, I forgot his qualifying. He can do that. I was intrigued there. I thought he would have got a penalty, but he didn't. But yeah, remember now it is because he is qualifying. You only get a warning if you speed into the pit lane. Okay, Hazard now. Making the most of what he has available to him. It is a hot lap now. He's done his out lap already. He's got a lot of traffic up ahead of him. That is a McLaren, Force India and a Ferrari I've just seen, which I think is Beaker. We'll have to keep an eye on who that actually is. But looking how slow they are, there's an audible game again out of the way. Good, and job done. Kind of on the racing line, so that might have hindered him a little bit. A little touch with the wall there will mean he's going to be a little bit slower than he anticipated, but he's still staying committed to this lap time. This is the guy that we call Captain Consistency. Go around by Beaker there. Beaker is out of the way and managed to hold it, but that's Mizzo in front of him. Is he going to be able to close up quick enough and utilise the slipstream down the home straight? If he does, this might be a massively improved time for him. Oh, a little bit wobbly there. I'm not sure if he's even going to break the 121s looking at it. Or maybe I might be completely wrong because this is looking pretty relatively decent. 120.4. P7 for him. Good job there by Captain Consistency. Now where's Jonty? Jonty is on the flyer as well. He's only just started. It's turn 3, now turn 4 and 5. There we go. Beautiful. Okay. Nice and chin, no real issues there. I'll come back to him shortly. He's 2/10 up at the minute. Let's see how he does when he comes around to the end of this lap. Inaudible Gamers also just started a lap time too. Not quite. I mean, he's done a 120.819 so far, and just looking at how close these drivers are, just from sort of P4 onwards. P4 down to P11 are all within a second of each other. And those drivers that are actually in the top 3, the actual podium drivers, that's where that's quite a large gap there. You got half a second separating from P1 to P3, so that is pretty solid indeed. Let's go take a look at Yonti again, see where he is and how he's doing. Oh, it looks like he's backed out. He's on mode 0. Yeah, he does not look happy with that time. Setting himself up again, and off he goes. Gooby has left the session. I believe that is due to a disconnection. Hopefully he can make himself back in again. But I do actually want to check out Forsetti. He is someone I have a lot of respect for as a driver and as a person. He's a really nice guy, and he's developed, so much in such a short space of time. A 121.541 though is where he is at the minute, and that is down in P17, which is not quite where you want to be when you've got 30 seconds left of the session. A little bit of a lock up there. It does mean that he's going to have to put everything on the line now if he wants to go again. How's he looking? 120, 121. This has got to be a warm-up for him. 122.597. So he knows he's way faster than that, and he's about to demonstrate that now as he goes around. Let's check out Lazaro. Interestingly, Edington's in the pits, so P2 is the maximum he's going to get out of this. Copy is... where is he? Is he actually going to make it? No, he isn't. So he's not going to be able to finish the qualifying pace. Gooby has crossed the line already anyway, so he's not going to be able to make it. Friday and Beaker, they're also in the pits. Beaker dead last. The Rwagnation Season 1 World Champion is dead last at the start of the Australian Grand Prix. Who would have thought that that would have been a situation you'd have seen? Well, let's take a look at where Rayner is. He is on a flyer as well. Look at him killing it right now. He's actually looking like he's pretty much secured P1. I don't think there's anyone on track who has any possibility of snatching that away from him. Forseti there on the super soft tyre. Still pretty the way down there. Torto's retired already, so P16 is the best he's going to do. Forseti is staying committed, is staying strong, and is not backing out of this lap anytime soon. Not quite the quickest way there. He has a little bit of network issues. Is he going to be able to hold it together going through the final? Yeah, he's backed out. He knows this isn't going to be the quickest he can do. What tyre did he did? His fastest was on a soft compound tyre. So something must have gone wrong every time he tried it on the super softs. Obviously he's outside of the top 10, which does mean that he gets the opportunity to choose what tyre he wants to go on. But we'll have to see how that looks. Right, look at that. That is a very good bunched up pack there. You've got the two front rows, all really very fast drivers. Then the rest of the drivers, there's a massive clump of drivers together in the middle of the pack. With about 12 or 13 drivers all neck and neck. I think this is going to be an incredible race. Now, if I was to talk about predictions going into the actual race itself, I think those that are in the top 3 right now are probably going to be the ones that actually finish the race in the top 3. The question is, though, who is going to be in what position? Is it Nickturn going to be behind Rayner, and is Copy going to be able to join his teammate up there, or is he going to be separated between the two of them? We'll have to keep an eye on that. I'm going to go... Oh, I honestly don't know. I think Rayner has the pace. I think he has the potential. I think he's got the skill to be the race winner today. So I'm going to go Rayner as my winner for Australian Grand Prix, followed by Nickturn and Copies. I think they will stay exactly how they qualified, and it's looking like it's going to be a dry race for these drivers. Now, one of the benefits, the main features that the Rwagnation League does have available is that we do have something called a live stewarding system, which works like this. Every team has a Jeff that is paying attention and is looking at the analytics of the vehicles. Obviously, they can provide lots of updates, lots of features, advising when people are pitting, what tyres they're on, how much damage they've got, how much they're struggling with the tyres, any sort of information. They all have that available to them so that they have an insight into every team. So it's not quite as blind as you think it is when it comes to the drivers just tearing around the track. And the other thing you have to bear in mind is that there is also a live penalty induction system, which is if the steward, because the stewards are watching right now, they're currently paying attention to everything that's happening on track, and if there are any incidents that are deemed as not their fault, then it goes to the steward's office. The steward's office then decide if there's going to be a penalty issued. The Jeff gets called into a steward's room, and then the penalty is then passed on down to the driver in question. Obviously, it's a first time that this has been done before. So we're hoping that this works out beautifully, and from what I've seen of the feedback, most of the drivers actually really like the idea of it, and they do think that it can work out quite nicely. We'll have to just pay attention and see how well it does. I imagine everything will start off with some teething issues, as all things do. I'm looking here on board with Rayner, who is looking pretty cozy to take the race win here. Okay, sorry for the little silence there. I was just checking in to make sure that everything's okay downstairs. Given the situation, everything seems to be okay. If I go quiet again, it'll be for the same reason, but I won't be doing it as often as you think. Especially not when we have lap 1 here in Australia. The Rwagnation Season 2 is about to get underway. I'm hyped, and I'm hoping that you all are too, that are remaining here in the chat. Thank you all for sticking by with us, despite the little issues that we had earlier. We've already had our first report come in. which has been that there will be Inaudible Gamer and Beaker in question blocking on the first lap, on the fast lap, sorry, will be reviewed after the race. So we may have our first issue straight away. That is an intriguing situation to be in. Okay, here we go. All of the drivers on the track. Let's see who is going to be able to get away as we go into our first lap of the Australian Grand Prix. It's all looking good if you are in Rena's shoes right now. Tearing away beautifully. And I'm looking around to see if anyone else is actually trying to do anything ambitious, and it's looking pretty cool. Yonti's done a very good job. Lazzaro's not quite had the start he wanted. I've just seen him sideways. Mercedes there managed to catch that together. That was Chloe. He is now right there in front of his teammate Hazard. Hazard's going to go for a little dive down the inside. I don't think he is. No, the Toro Rosso of Yoltek trying to battle and make his way through the pack. He's up into P7 and it's looking pretty good if you are a Toro Rosso fan. But more importantly, look at the top three. They have not moved. Inaudible Gamer's gone. He's off the track. That is not how you wanted it to be. He's still trying to pull himself together, but all these cars flying past him means he's going to fall all the way down to dead last. And on these ultra soft tyres, that is not somewhere you want to be, as you are going to have to do something miraculous to pull that one back. Okay. So, other than the little issues we've seen with Inaudible Gamer, everything else seemed to go pretty smoothly. There was a sideways Chloe at one point, which is still ongoing. Nothing too tragic, but you'd have thought that it would have been more disastrous than that at the start of this race, especially when everyone, so it's the start of any racing calendar. Everyone is going to be a little bit antsy in the pantsy, trying to do little moves that they couldn't necessarily do before, and over-eager, and especially super excited. Again, remember, this is a crowd-funded prize pool racing league, so at the end of the league, the top three drivers will be getting a prize, as well as the constructor winners. Now, Rayner still leading. Has actually already built a 1 second gap between him and Nick Turn at the minute. Copy is 1.2 seconds behind at Nick Turn. And then Yonti right there behind these guys. And I think as soon as DRS becomes available on the next lap, I think we're going to see a very struggling Copy to defend himself. But look at further down the field, just everyone is so close. Forsetti, he has done a miraculous job of getting himself up in a P14. Started on the soft compound and it's looking pretty cozy for him. He's on the back end of Dark Demise already. Is he going to go for a little dive on the inside? He is not, but he is a lot quicker through that sector. I think there might be a little overtaking move happening on the next section. How is he performing this right now? They are side by side as they come into the sharp right-hander before they go to the left. And I think Forsetti has made that move work. He got on the grass a little bit, and just as long as he hasn't lost the drive, he has indeed managed to make it work. TNMO trying to go around the outside of Dark Demise here. I'm not sure whether or not that's going to happen. No, he's managed to keep himself behind him, but also keep himself out of trouble. But Dark Demise hasn't managed to do the right thing, and so far he's struggling. Yoltek, not sure what's happened here, but he seems to be in a world of trouble. Look at that, he's got 0 front wing. I think he lost it coming out of turn 12, turn 12, 13. That's a major issue there. He's going to be in the pits very quickly, getting a front wing replaced. And a little contact there between him and Beaker. And I think he actually caught his front wing of his teammate as well. No damage though to Gooby. Whoa, already, I thought it was going to be a nice quiet start, and already we've got some major action kicking off. This is beautiful to see. So, front runners still in the same shoes as they were before. Chloe now right there with his teammate Hazard, who is 1.6 seconds behind him. Chloe is on a mission to try and make Lazaro make a mistake. And these are the sort of drivers that if you take that slight little wiggle through any corner, you will find that they will pounce and they will capitalize on that mistake and they will make that position theirs. So P5 is where it looks like at the minute for Lazaro. Chloe is going to be doing everything he can to change it. And further down the field, you do have Just Chillin' and Brownie. They're also battling with Mizzo. Mizzo, who does and has shown a lot of pace in races I've seen him in the past. But to see him being challenged by Just Chillin' and Brownie, it's a symbol to show just how good these drivers are. And here he goes, Brownie down the inside. Nicely done by him, the Ferrari driver. He is the reserve, filling in for Yawn today. Just Chillin' actually almost capitalized on that mistake as well for Brownie, but Mizzo did recover his position and back up to P8 he goes. Now we're on obviously lap 4. DRS was enabled last lap. It does mean this time though that Mizzo is in a big heap of trouble. He goes defensive going into turn 1. What's he going to do to protect himself after this one? We got the next DRS section. Yeah, it took turn 1 quite cozily. No real issues there, but is Brownie going to go for a dive? This is the main thing, a bit of a lockup from both drivers, but no, Mizzo does hold on to P8. So, further upfield, Yonti is closing onto the back of Copy. Now, like I said before, when DRS became available, it was a question of, is Copy going to be able to defend himself against Yonti? And Yonti just hasn't had an answer yet to Copy's defensive skills. I don't know how Yonti can do this overtaking move, but if Copy just makes a whiff of a mistake, Yonti will pounce. And it wouldn't surprise me if Lazzaro also did the same thing. He's 1.2 seconds behind, and yes, he doesn't have DRS on Yonti, but he does have the fact that the gap isn't that large. If turn 12-13 becomes an issue for anyone, like it was for Yoltek, I actually just want to get a little board on, get a little bit on board with him. Went into the pits, has managed to do a full lap without losing the back end again. But is he going to be able to hold it together when we get to the next run round at 12-13? Gooby is disconnected again, unfortunately. Not quite having the race that he was looking for. Fossetti's also lost connection as well, which is interesting. Yoltek has paused to go and invite his teammate back in again. So poor Toro Rosso's, everyone is... Oh, it's a virtual safety car, that is why. That would make complete sense. So VSC has been called. I can only assume that that is as a result of the disconnections from the two drivers. And we have now got the virtual safety car gone. Mizzo has invited his teammate, and Brownie has moved over to try and recover that position back. So Mizzo actually doing a nice thing for his team there, trying to get his team back together. It does, however, mean though that Brownie did overtake it, but Mizzo hasn't really lost that much as a result of that. And so now with him being so close to the back end of the Ferrari, he may actually capitalise on the fact that Hazard is right there as well. This could be a little sort of blessing in disguise for him. He used the abilities of what Brownie had to use that gap, use the slipstream, and bring himself up to the back end of P7. Oh, not if he's caught in that wall though. He needs to stop that from happening. But Beaker started the race in dead last. Now he's up there battling with Fossetti. Fossetti manages to hold the inside. So Fossetti doing a very good job of recovering from where he was at earlier. Beaker not quite having the start. And especially from what, like I say, the Season 1 World Champion, you expect him to be able to pull off more than what he's currently got. And we'll monitor it and see how he does. He's using a lot of that air to sort of keep the brakes cool, keep the tyres at the right temperature, and reduce the chances of him locking up. Especially when you come into this section here, Fossetti's run wide. It does mean now that Beaker could pounce as Fossetti's locked up, gone onto the grass. Beaker's gone around the outside, and that is a very smooth move done by Beaker. But Haride also looking to capitalise on Fossetti's mistakes, and we've lost our first driver. That is Chloe. Where is that? Oh, he's had a collision with Copy. That's going into turn 2. Major off there. Look at that. Chloe's buried in the wall. That is a left front wheel that has been disintegrated. Copy fell all the way out of P3 and all the way down in a P10. I'm pretty sure he's going to have to make a very quick trip to the pit. Although actually his wing's in pretty tip-top situation. And I'm very surprised we didn't see a safety car there, to be honest. Mizzo on the back of Brownie now, trying to repay the favour from earlier. He's having to take a really tight line. There is a bit of contact. Only a little bit of a nudge, but Brownie managed to catch it. And Mizzo backs off enough to let Brownie run off again with that position. So far, 6 laps in out of the 29, we've only lost one of the drivers. I was expecting there to be a lot more incidents than there has been, and so far it's been pretty good indeed if you are any of the drivers remaining on track. Obviously we've had a few disconnection issues, but just chilling, looking for a move down the inside. Mizzo did a little bit of oversteering there. But Mizzo still holds on to P7. Is just chilling, going to be able to close in on these guys. We'll have to keep an eye out. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to do it or not, but Brownie is closing up even closer to Hazard. And actually, Mizzo's fallen outside of the DRS range. This does play dividends for just chilling, because yes, he's not got the space there to overtake in a minute, but if he can get the runoff out of this corner, he might be able to make a move. Mizzo gone super defensive now, holding down the racing line, just chilling, a little look, not enough room. Very good heads-up driving there by Just Chilling to make sure he didn't collide with the McLaren driver. Fair play to him for that. Hazard though, he's actually closed it to Brownie. Oh, sorry, Brownie overtook Hazard, and now Hazard is trying to recover his issue. Brownie has been set free, so we're going to see whether or not Brownie just has better pace, or if Hazard is really struggling that much. Lazzaro is only just ahead by 1.5 seconds. Let's see how he can perform. Friday doing a very good job of keeping onto the back end of Beaker. Now, Harade is someone that has had a bit of a rocky season, especially in Season 1. He didn't quite have the start he was looking for. He filled in for many different drivers, and then when we get to this situation, that's when you see them sort of relish a little bit. Remember, there are no assists here. The only assists that are available are the automatic gears for the ones that are driving on the pad. And also we've left racing lines on. Beaker's going to be a little dive done on him by Harade. There was a little bit of a close there, and actually look at that, Forsetti managing to make a move, and look, wow, that was a beautiful move there by Forsetti. Made it look like Harade wasn't even trying to defend himself, and Harade's tyres will now start to fall apart as the front runners are at 7 laps in. I do expect them to be coming... Oh, that was a close counter there, Forsetti. You might want to watch yourself on that wall, mate. You almost binned it. That's around Brownie, swapping places, battling hard. Okay. Reina, Enigton, Yonti, Brownie, that's how the top 4 look at the minute. Lazzaro P5. Hazard is trying to change that around a little bit. Lazzaro did get overtaken by Brownie just literally at the beginning of this lap. And after all of that, that has done a very solid job there. Brownie's already on the yellow fuel. He's using a lot of his ERS as well to try and pull himself away from Lazzaro. Mizzo's made a move already on Hazard. They are side by side. He's coming into this left-hander. That was actually almost a major issue there. And I have been informed that Inaudible Gamer and Mizzo have an incident that will be investigated after the race, as it's not clear enough to say who is actually at fault. So, yet to see any stewarding involvement mid-race, where we've had a driver that's needed to have an action against them. But mainly because a lot of these drivers are actually doing a very good job of keeping it clean. Hazard is the one of the first drivers up the front to pit. At Nick Turn as well, up there, he has pit. Is he going to try the undercut? That's the main question. What is he going to go for? He's going for the softs. Same for Hazard as well. And I have been informed that Force India have actually ran out of their reportings. They no longer have enough reports to be able to report anyone else on track. So that's going to be an issue for them if there are any more involvements that happen. And I mean, obviously, looking at it as it stands at the minute, the live stewarding is playing a huge factor for these drivers. And they drive. I don't know whether or not it's just that they're really worried about receiving a penalty mid-race that's causing them to drive so cleanly, or whether or not it's just that they've just got such strong driver skill that they're keeping it clean. But either way, this is really good driving skill by these drivers. Reina and Nickton, they were the ones who were looking like they were just on a whole nother level. Reina's still out there on the ultra softs, and Yoltek locks up going into turn 4. Oh, back end kicking out more than he likes. Yoltek looks like he's really struggling with this car setup. Australia does not seem to suit Yoltek's driving style. It is a street race after all, and Yoltek doesn't seem to favour them that much, although he does quite like Singapore sometimes, it seems. He did perform really well last season. Let's see how he does this season in particular. Reina has now pit. So race leader has come out and gone into the pit, and he's gone out on the softs. Where is he going to come out in comparison to Nickton? Where's that Nickton? They're on the home straight. This could actually be very close. TNMO is under threat as well, so look at that. Nickton's going to be battling, but Reina has come out ahead of Nickton. Nickton couldn't quite pull off the... oh, that was close. Nickton almost lost the back end there. But Reina's actually built himself up a nice little car between the two of them, and that's going to be a problem for Nickton. This couldn't have worked out worse for him, really. He did pit earlier, did try to go for an undercut, it looked like. Rexon's gone on the grass, midge contact! Rexon's lost the back end and went off into the wall, and that's it, Nickton out of the race. He was a potential race winner, and he's had a major crash that's caused him to lose his front left wheel. And Rexon, whilst he has managed to keep himself going, he's just reversed into the Williams there. That was major. It looked like it was just a driving mistake from Rexon that caused that whole situation, and Nickton will be very frustrated that that has happened. Fully expect that to be going to the steward's office, but looking at the rest of the drivers, it does mean that Brownie is your current race leader, but obviously he has yet to pit, whereas Yonti is just going to pit, as you can see. Brownie is on the super soft, so he'll be going quite a lot longer than the ultra soft in a minute. 9 laps is when Yonti decided it was time to call it a day. Nickton and Reina did the same thing as well. So look further downfield. Rayner's now brought himself up in front of Yonti as a result of Yonti going into the pits. So good coordination between the two drivers to make sure that we didn't double stack. Dactymize down there in P13, trying to get on the back end of Gooby. Now we know that Toro Rossos have been plagued with issues, both connectivity and driver related. Gooby, oh, that was almost a major issue there that Dactymize had. But, oh man, these drivers love getting close to that wall. It sends my heart fluttering every time I see them do it. Tortor, who is Dactymize's teammate, is currently down in P18, which at the minute is the last of the runners. Although Rexon's in the pits, so that's helped him out a little bit. Obviously, that's outside the points regardless. If you're not in the top 10, you're not getting points. And yeah, here we are looking. Beaker. So there is another incident that was being investigated, which is the Inaudible Gamer and Tortor. Lap 1, turn 6, pushing Tortor into the wall, and will be investigated after the race when a clip is provided. So that is something else to pay attention to. Again, though, it's really demonstrating just how it's looking overall for these drivers. Right, sorry for that little pause of silence there. So Hazard's in the pits, Mizzo's in the pits. Both of them coming in, going. I'm pretty sure we've seen Hazard already. Oh no, sorry, not Hazard in the pits. It was just Chilling that was in the pits. I got distracted a little bit there. Just Chilling in the pits. Obviously, he's come back out into P10. Dactymize gets a 5-second stop-go penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That is not a situation you want to be having. You're already down in P15. It's just going to get worse and worse and worse if you're in those shoes. Dactymizer's got a lot to do to try and recover his steps. Someone who doesn't have that much to do to recover is Hazard. P8 at the minute, but we have still got some drivers that are yet to pit. Fossetti is on an outlap apparently, but he's been on that since he rejoined the lobby. So I can inform you that he is still racing properly and has been for 9 laps of his softs. We'll see what happens when he does pit. The softs will go a lot longer than any of the other tyres that are available to these drivers, so we'll see if he decides to pit in a little bit earlier than the anticipated race strategy, but he did choose to start on these tyres, and so he does entirely have this in his hand as to where to go and when to do it. Brownie, who was race leader, has gone into the pits. Rayner resumes his net P1, and with Nick Turn out of the race, this is looking like a little bit of a runaway for Rayner. Yoltek down in P14. Let's have a look at how he's doing at the minute. He is right on the back of Haride. Yoltek, we know, can be really quick. He showed some next level performance towards the end of season 1, so like 2/3 in. That's when he came to life. And look at him now trying to go around the outside of Haride into turn 1, and he's done that move. That is a very solid move. He got DRS to cement that even further. So really well done there by Yoltek. Next up is his teammate. Whether or not we're going to see any sort of actually Toto just got 3-second time penalty, but whether we're going to see any sort of team orders come into play here between the two. Obviously, again, remember, every single team here today does have a Jeff to assist them, so they will have what is required. And the stewards are working very hard, dealing with the number of reports that are fast and flooding in. Yonti now making moves towards Mizzo. Mizzo trying to do everything he can to hold on. He's done a pretty solid job overall. And it's not actually been a bad race for him. McLaren are having a really good performing race. They were the ones who, Fossetti, in the qualifier, he only just scraped in to get himself into the actual races, the actual season itself. But looking at the way he's performing right now, you wouldn't believe it. He's just doing such a good job of throwing down some really high-paced lap times. P3 is where he sits at the minute. Obviously, he does still have to pit yet, so we are looking at when he does pit, he's going to drop down to around about P12 or whatever. But still, from going from being scraping in to demonstrating your capabilities in a really strong, debut, he's doing a really phenomenal job. Okay, Haride in the pits as well. He's gone to the soft compound tyre. Toto's also done the same of going into the pits. He's on 11 laps old super softs. Is he going to... I just want to see where he actually is. Oh yeah, there you go. Now he's on the softs. I think he had a 5-second stop go, which didn't help himself at all. 14 laps in now. We are about halfway. We just need to see who is going to be demonstrating their worth here. Reina is doing exactly that. He's got 11.2 seconds between him and P2. Really chucking down some quick pace laps. Reina just seems to be, you know, now that Nick turns out, he looks like he's got no sort of competition in terms of performance. Everywhere else there seems to be competition though, but obviously remember there's been a fair few incidents that have been had, especially in lap 1. It doesn't surprise me that we've had what we've got. Fosse still on an outlap apparently, same as Gooby, but again as a result of the disconnections from before. 12 seconds now, Reina, and that gap between T and MO. I actually want to go on board with Reina and just have a look at how quick he's actually... Oh, there you go. There's something to show that he is human after all. He's not a machine, despite the fact that he's driving like a machine. Gets himself a 3-second time penalty for just pushing himself a little bit too hard and a little bit too far. Imagine if a safety car was brought in now. This would throw some real spice into the situation. Let's see what happens now. Look at the two Ferraris. Beaker, who started dead last, is up in a P5. Yes, he's 14 laps in on these softs. And look at the chain that's going on in the minute. Mizzo's trying to make some moves on Beaker. Oh, there's contact between the two of them. The massive nudge. Beaker looked like he just broke a little bit too early, and actually that was a collision between the two of them, but still no damage on either car at the minute. But with DRS being available, this is not over yet. Here is Yonti, who managed to fall behind Beaker somehow, but Mizzo trying to do some moves. It's not happening. He's going around the outside of turn 1. Beaker's off the track. He's going to rejoin it safely. It's looking like it's only just about. A little bit of a nudge there from Yonti into Hazard. Hazard did a little bit of a run aside there. But he's managed to keep himself on track, and that is massive. Really close racing there between these two drivers. Yoltek getting a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. He's actually... It's quite rare for him to get a sort of 3-second time penalty. He reminds me similar of Hazard, who does a very good job of keeping himself together. As just chilling on the back of Lazzaro. Oh, that was a little move there down in the inside. Is just chilling going to be able to complete the manoeuvre? It's looking like he's got the better drive, and he is ahead. But there is a DRS section available just after this next double-hander. There's the left and there's the right of... Oh, there's a very wobbly Beaker. He managed to catch himself just about, but it was almost a major off there. Beaker's going to be in a lot of trouble. Look how quick these drivers just caught up in terms of pace. Lazzaro's trying to go around the outside of Just Chillin'. Just Chillin' is fighting to the death, but Lazzaro has taken P9, but he's on the gravel. Now this is Just Chillin's chance to get a cut back on him, but he's shut the door shut on him by Lazzaro. And Just Chillin' now on the slipstream and the DRS, and Beaker comes into the pits. I think he had to. He'd really destroyed those tyres. But look at how Just Chillin' is going now. Is he going to be able to make some passes go through? I don't think he is. I think he's going to do it on the next DRS straight, and that's quite wise, to be honest. Yes, it's the same DRS activation zone for both the DRS detection, DRS zones. But look, he goes. Just Chillin' round. There is contact between the two drivers, but not enough for there to be any damage, and I don't think there's any implication. And Copy is just watching these two drivers. If either one of them makes a mistake, Copy is going to lap that up, unless he falls in the same shoes as his teammate, which had happened on that section right there, where Rexon lost control of his car, went off into the wall, and Nickturn collected into the side of him, and that was a done deal there for a Nickturn. Rexon, luckily, is still in the race for his benefit, but I think there's going to be some question marks around what's going to happen there. And unfortunately, guys, I'm just going to need to mute my mic just 2 minutes. Bear with me, apologies for this. Apologies, ladies and gentlemen, for the slight little issue there. I did have to just disappear, but I am back and we will continue for the remainder of this session. So let's take a look at Hazard actually, who's managed to bring himself up, and I did actually just spot the sky. The sky has slightly darkened. We do only have 7 laps remaining of the session, so whether or not that's going to involve any sort of rain at all, I highly doubt it, but we'll have to keep an eye on it and see what happens next. Hazard on the back end of Mizzo. This again is captain consistency, someone who has done a very good job of keeping himself out of trouble, and how it's looking at the minute, he's going to be able to keep himself up into P3 if he can make a move happen here. I have been informed that there has been an incident between Mizzo and Beaker. That was on lap 16, turn 15. Contact with Beaker, 5-second time penalty for Mizzo, causing a collision. So there you have it, our first live penalty for Mizzo. How that's going to be served, we'll have to see. Interesting. It's good to see that the system is in place and is. We'll have to see whether or not how effective it is indeed. But that was a major issue between Mizzo and Beaker, and I don't fully blame either driver for doing what they did. But you know, that's the risk you play when you have these sorts of battles. Is that when you get caught up in a situation, you have to take the penalty because you know you just didn't handle it the necessary way you needed to. I thought Hazard were going to lose it there. Already on the back end of Mizzo, already got the DRS wide open, using the slipstream but not using ERS, and there's a reason for that because in the next few corners you will have another DRS section followed by another DRS section, meaning that Hazard will have his best chances of making the overtake stick right there on the home straight and on turn 2's long straight there. Let's see now. There we go, look. He's trying to close the gap up. He's not gone for overtake mode purely because he doesn't want to be passing him at the time of turn 1 or 2. He wants to be just close enough, but I don't think he's quite done what he needed to. Yeah, look, he knows it himself. That's why he's sat in mode 2, because he knows he's not close enough to even make that attempt. So rather than burn all my ERS away, I'll just manage my ERS, manage my time, keep my gap close enough to be able to get onto another DRS straight on the next lap round and do it all over again, but this time do it right. Reina still your race leader, and with 23-second lead on Brownie, that is a tremendous lead. He's really demonstrated just how fast he is. Let's take a look further down. Gooby on the back of Inaudible Gamer. Inaudible Gamer's actually had his name thrown about a fair bit towards the stewards today, and he may have it again. As no, it was a pretty safe move by Gooby. Inaudible Gamer gave him plenty of space. Rexon's retired. That kind of doesn't surprise me, to be honest, given the situation he had with that Nick turn. I was fully expecting him to have crashed out at the time of when the collision happened earlier, just because that was kind of what was going to happen. But no, he did recover, he did get himself going around again in P18. It's going to play a mental effect on him on how he performed in the race. So I think he took himself out just to move on to the next race. But Hazard again, doing the same as he did last lap round. Is he going to be able to improve from what he had before? Nope, still again, only using mode 2. I think he has a lot more pace to give if he gives himself the opportunity to do it. He's got full ERS to his advantage and he's just not utilising it. With 5 laps to go, Hazard, you need to put down as much pace as you can, whether it be deploying as much ERS as possible, making the overtake, or just using it to keep the gap and keep the pressure on the driver in front. Because at the minute, Mizzo knows that you're there and he knows that you have DRS, but he also knows you're not going to be making any sort of moves. And so he just carries on taking his lines, carries on, and don't even need to make any defensive moves. He just carries on going as he is. So, Hazard, is he going to pull anything out of the bag on the final closing laps? Definitely has the driver's skill to be able to pull this off. It just needs to actually pull it off. DRS available again. Look, here he comes. Final sector. Only got a few corners to go before he's back to where he was a couple of laps ago. Over the last 2 laps, sorry. But it needs to really deploy it. Look at that. It's still got really, really high ERS. He's just losing so much extra performance out of the car by not utilising it. Mode 2 still, even on this home straight. Yes, I know that you don't want to necessarily be passing him, but you do want to be closer than this. Unless he's trying to be smarter about it. But Mizzo is just so much better than keeping these, very consistent at taking those lines and not having any mistakes. You need to force him into a state of submission. He needs to know that if you are going to pass, you are going to pass. Just Chilling now swaps positions with Inaudible Gamer. Just Chilling's in P12. Outside of the point still, but still in P12. Inaudible Gamer just having a real mare. 22 laps in on these softs. He's not going to be feeling performance right now. Where is Just Chilling going to catch up to Gooby? I've been informed that Gooby actually has a desync issue, like a mega desync issue. He's still going strong. Okay, back up the field again. Lazaro catching up to Copy. This again is for very vital points, and Copy, you did have a major issue. Oh, Lazaro. Oh, okay, Lazaro manages to catch that one. And I'll tell you, I give him credit. That was a very quick catch. It was literally like he just powered out of it, and the car just self-righted it. But you know, you could see his steering wheel going crazy, left, right, left, right, left, right, and he caught it beautifully. So well done by Lazaro. But that does mean now that he didn't have the gap closed up enough on this DRS straight because of it. So Copy is going to be pretty safe for this lap around in the overtaking zones, unless he makes a monumental mistake going into turn 1, which is possible, just like Just Chilling did. 3-second time penalty for him. Now he's obviously committed, wants to push to get himself up there and take that position away from Gooby, but 3 seconds separates the two drivers, and when you get down to these two up here, Hazard and Mizzo, they're about 3/10 away from each other. Mizzo holds on to P3 at the minute, and it's looking pretty strong if you're in his shoes. McLaren as a whole are up in the top 8. You got 3 and 8 being the two McLaren drivers. Looking at the rest of the teams, you got Haas are definitely pulling off the better sort of constructors position at the minute. You got P1 and P5. Ferrari only got 2 and 10. Mercedes have got 4 and out. Red Bull have also got a 7 and out. Williams have also got a 6 and out. So those 3 teams have only got one lot of points being inducted into their actual Constructors Champions. Now Hazard actually much closer this time around than he has been for quite some time. Got the DRS available to him. Oh, there we go. Now he's finally deploying his ERS. Now he's actually going for some moves. Let's see what he can pull off. He's going to go for a dive. No, he definitely isn't. Not going into turn 1 and 2. Needs to make sure now that he utilizes everything. Finally, we're seeing some life out of the Mercedes driver. Is he going to go for a move down the inside now? No. Hazard, whilst he is Captain Consistency, ooh, that was almost an inconsistent move there. But yeah, as I was saying, he is Captain Consistency, but he's also Captain not really throwing risk and caution to the wind. So Hazard got a lot to do. Is he going to do it? Keep an eye out. 2 laps to go. Still got everything to play for. Lots of drivers still killing it. One driver who's killing it more than anyone is Rayner up there in P1. His gap is just getting larger and larger, and I don't think I've seen anyone up there being anywhere near as fast as he actually is. Let's take a look at how he is performing today. There was a collision between Just Chilling and Lazaro, and the stewards have said no further action to be taken. It is a racing incident. So, good news for Lazaro, as he's currently on the back of Copy. Copy again, P6, Lazaro chasing hard. This is going to mean the world to him if he can pull it off. It's going to be a really good start to his Season 2 career here in the Rwagnation League. But still, Hazard not making it happen between him and Mizzo. No matter what he tries, he's just not closing it in enough. Mizzo's doing a really good job of keeping the distance around. I mean, he does have 3 lap tires fresher than Hazard, but you know, in terms of pace, that's going to be marginal at this point. These tires can go a lot longer. As you can see, Copy's done 21 laps. Lazaro is also on the 19 laps as well. So you fully expect Hazard to be able to pull this move off regardless of the situation at hand. And yeah, oh, a little bit of a wobble there. Now he's starting to see some life out of Hazard, and that's where he starts to become a little bit more inconsistent. Actually, look at how he's going right now. He is so close to the back end of Mizzo. He might actually take him on this DRS zone as long as he gets a better run off here. And so far it's looking pretty good. use that slipstream to your advantage. No, still can't do it. This time, Hazard, let's see what you can do. This is the final lap for him as they come across the line. It will be the start of the final. Rayner has already started his final lap and he's been in it for quite some time. Where is Hazard going to make the move? Is he going to be able to make it in time for the end of the race? Not sure. Is he going to be able to just jump a place as a result of penalties? I saw Rayner go 3 seconds, but in the grand scheme of things, that means nothing. Here goes Hazard. Contact between the two drivers. Mizzo gets a little bit of a clip there from Hazard. Hazard did finally try something, and is it too little too late? Well, we're seeing it, and you know, he does still have another dearest son available to him for him to attempt it, but whether or not it's going to be too late for him is kind of a telltale sign here. It's great to see Hazard now finding what he is capable of doing and just going for these moves. He's got nothing really to lose. P4 is where he's sat currently. Some really strong points, but he'll kick himself if he doesn't even attempt to make a move on Mizzo. And, oh, that was close. He almost went into the back end of the McLaren driver. Contact with the wall there. Don't think there was any damage to his car, but I want to go on board with Rayner as he's coming across the line to take the first race of the Rwagnation League Season 2 here. Austrian Grand Prix victory goes to Rayner. Brownie is, look how far back he is, just as a comparison to how far ahead Rayner actually is in terms of everything. Brownie coming around the second to last corner now. He's done a very good job to perform as well as he has. He was not even in the top 3 when he started this Grand Prix. He's jumped 11 places to get up in a P2, and he crosses the line to take P2, but how's it going to fare when it comes to the end of this race? Mizzo takes P3, and Hazard, just outside of the podium, takes P4. Yonti finishes in P5. Copy coming along now, P6. Lazaro crosses in P7 and finishes in style. Fossetti starts his season off quite strong in P8, after having a major issue in qualifying. That was a really good recovery drive by him. TNMO comes in P9. Beaker looking to take the final point for the Drivers' Championship here. Coming across the line, he will take P10. And Yotek did get a penalty, so I think it will stay. Oh, yep, it has stayed there. And it actually lost a place. So best of the rest actually goes to Gooby, his teammate in the Toro Rosso. The two Toro Rossos still finishing outside of points, along with both the Renaults. They are also outside of the points, and that's not quite how you want to start off your first race in the Rwagnation League. Dark Demise does get a 5-second stop-go penalty added to the end of his race, as he didn't serve that stop-go penalty. So that's the first race here at Rwagnation League Season 2, kicked off with a really good, exciting race. Apologies for having to disappear so frequently. There was obviously a family emergency that I did have to attend to. It does seem to be all in hand now, though, and I did manage to get back in time to watch the rest of the Grand Prix. And of what I did see, it was next level incredible. There is Rayner celebrating in style, along with Mizzo on the podium and along with Brownie. Brownie really making some very valuable points there for Ferrari. Both Ferrari drivers did finish in the points. Beaker finished in P10, getting that 1 point, and Brownie bringing home the bacon for his family and for the constructor. Here's how he looks at the end of the session. Rayner did finish P1, started in P1, brought all the way home, and I think realistically that's he would be in the running for being driver of the day if it wasn't for this man here, Brownie. Started in P13, outside of the points, had a perfect strategy, had a perfect drive, and brought himself all the way up into P2 and brought some very, very well earned points for his team. And even though he's just a reserve driver, he's a reserve driver for Ferrari. Can you believe it? So when Jon comes back, Jon's gonna have a lot of shoes to fill when he go into Bahrain. Beautifully done by these drivers. Mizzo takes P3, Hazard takes P4, and I have been informed actually that Hazard has jumped up a place on Mizzo because Mizzo has a 5-second penalty from the contact earlier on in the session. So that is how the penalty was going to be applied. It's going to be applied at the end of the race, and so Hazard, Captain Consistency himself, does get himself up into P3 and finishes on the podium. Doesn't say on the screen, but that's because the stewards have ruled that Mizzo was given a 5-second penalty as a result of a contact earlier on in the race. Yonti P5, Copy P6, Lazaro P7, Fossetti in P8. Really good race from him. Tinamo P9, Beaker taking the final points, and Gooby, like I say, he's the best of the rest, taking P11. His teammate close behind, Yoltek P12, Inaudible Gamer in P13, Dagdamai is having a pretty rough race. Starting P11, dropped down to P14, and actually got 11 seconds of penalties. That is not where you want to be if you are in his shoes. Friday gets P15, just chilling. Quite a disastrous race for him. Started P12, dropped 4 places, did have contact, didn't quite end how he wanted it. Totov takes P17. Rexon had a major incident with the driver who finished in P19, which is at Nick turn, caused a major off and actually completely ruined the Williams driver's car, and that actually took him completely out of the race. Very much expect that to be going to the stewards, despite the fact it was just a driver error from Rexon that he couldn't really do much about. It was purely just a racing incident in my opinion, but we'll see what the stewards agree on. And Chloe, yep, start P6, had a horrific race, binned his car pretty tragically after turn 2, and that is the end of the Rwagnation League Season 2's first race. So, thank you everybody who tuned in. Again, apologies for the disappearing acts. I have commented on my own and I did have to disappear for a family emergency, so thank you all for being patient with me. I appreciate it. But join us next week when we are back, and it's going to be a fabulous race in Bahrain.